The power of small habits. Every big change in your life begins with something incredibly small. A tiny decision. A simple action. Something so minor that on most days, you don't even notice it. But here's the truth most people miss. Small habits compound, quietly, invisibly, and powerfully. You don't transform your life by taking one huge step. You transform it by taking one small step, repeated thousands of times. Think about it. One push-up a day doesn't change your body. Reading one page doesn't make you wise. Saving $1 won't make you rich. But do those tiny actions consistently, and watch how they start shaping the direction of your entire life. Success is never about intensity. It's about consistency. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 week, and underestimate what they can do in 1 year with small, consistent habits. Imagine improving yourself by just 1% each day. 1% doesn't feel like much. It's almost nothing. But if you keep at it, you don't become 30% better. You become 37 times better by the end of the year. That's the power you're sitting on right now. Not the power to make massive, dramatic changes, but the power to make tiny choices that build an extraordinary life. Your habits are like seeds. Plant a tiny seed today, water it daily, and it grows into something you couldn't even imagine at the beginning. But plant nothing, and nothing grows. Small habits shape your identity. Every time you take a small positive action, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. When you exercise for 2 minutes, you're voting for the identity of someone who takes care of their body. When you read 1 page, you're voting for the identity of someone who values knowledge. When you put $1 aside, you're voting for the identity of someone who manages money well. Every small habit whispers a message. This is who I am becoming. And here's the best part. Small habits are easy to start, easy to repeat, and easy to maintain. You don't need motivation. You just need a tiny action you can show up for every single day. Small habits are the quiet builders of big futures. They're the hidden architecture behind every success story. And starting today, you have the power to build yours. Breaking old patterns. Every one of us has patterns, behaviors we repeat without thinking. Some of them help us grow, and some quietly hold us back. What makes patterns powerful is that they operate in the background, almost like a program running in your mind. And unless you stop and look closely, you don't even realize how much control they have over your life. Think about the habits you fall into automatically. Reaching for your phone the moment you wake up, avoiding difficult tasks because they feel uncomfortable, telling yourself I'll start tomorrow, even though tomorrow never comes. These patterns aren't random. They're built from years of repetition, and once they're formed, your brain follows them effortlessly whether they are good for you or not. But here's the empowering truth. Patterns can be rewritten. You're not stuck with the habits you have today. You are not sentenced to repeat your past. Change begins the moment you decide to break the cycle. Breaking old patterns doesn't require strength. It requires awareness. The moment you catch yourself in a behavior and say, "Hold on, I've been here before," you've already taken the first step toward transformation. Maybe you always procrastinate when something feels overwhelming. Maybe you fall into negative self-talk whenever you make a mistake. Maybe you slip back into comfort because it feels easier than pushing forward. Recognizing these moments is powerful, because once you're aware, you can choose differently. Every time you interrupt an old pattern, you weaken its grip on your life. And every time you choose a small positive action, you strengthen a new path in your mind. That's how change really happens, not through massive effort, but through tiny interruptions of old behavior and tiny repetitions of new behavior. It's like carving a new path through a forest. At first, the old trail is clear and familiar, and the new one feels rough and uncertain. But walk that new path every day, and soon it becomes the easier one to follow. Breaking patterns isn't about fighting who you were. It's about giving yourself permission to become someone new. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to be conscious and willing to take one small step in a new direction. Your patterns shape your life. Rewrite them, and you rewrite your future. People often think success comes from huge breakthroughs, some dramatic moment where everything finally clicks. But in reality, success is usually the result of small, almost invisible actions, repeated over long periods of time. Every choice you make pushes your life in one direction or the other. It might not feel like it in the moment, but each action is a vote for the type of person you're becoming. Read one page today. You won't suddenly become smarter. Save a few rupees or dollars. You won't instantly become wealthy. Go for a 10-minute walk. You won't magically become fit. But repeat those actions daily, weekly, monthly, and the results become extraordinary. This is the compound effect. The same principle that grows money through interest also grows your habits, your mindset, your health, and your entire life. Small habits don't just add up, they multiply over time. The problem is, the early stages feel unrewarding. You'll put in effort and see almost no change. That's where most people quit. But the people who keep going, the ones who stay consistent even when the progress is invisible, they're the ones who eventually experience a breakthrough. Think of it like heating a block of ice. You start at minus temperatures, and nothing happens. 1 degree warmer, still nothing. Another degree, still nothing. But then, at exactly the right point, the ice melts. That's how habits work. You don't see results until suddenly. You do. Your small actions matter more than you think. Not because of what they do today, but because of what they will build over time. Every small habit is an investment in your future self. And the compound effect guarantees that no effort is ever wasted. Most habits, good or bad, follow the same simple loop: cue, routine, reward. A cue triggers the behavior, the routine is the action you take, and the reward is the feeling your brain gets from completing it. This loop runs quietly in the background of your life, and once it's formed, it repeats without much effort or awareness. But here's the powerful truth: if you can interrupt even one part of this loop, you can completely change the behavior. Let's start with the cue. Cues can be emotional, environmental, or even social. Stress can be a cue. Your phone lighting up can be a cue. Walking into a room can be a cue. If you want to break a bad habit, make the cue harder to reach. Move the phone out of arm's length. Remove the unhealthy snacks from your desk. Unsubscribe from triggers that pull you into old patterns. The next step is the routine, the actual behavior. To break a habit, don't rely on willpower alone. Replace the routine with something better. If you usually scroll your phone when bored, try a quick stretch or a deep breath instead. Your brain wants to act. Give it a healthier action to switch to. And then there's the reward. This is the part people overlook the most. Every habit stays alive because the reward satisfies something: comfort, escape, stimulation, or relief. If you remove a habit but don't satisfy the reward, the old pattern will eventually return. So ask yourself, what reward was this habit giving me? And find a positive way to meet that same need. It could be movement instead of mindless scrolling, reading instead of emotional snacking, a walk instead of stress spiraling. When you break the loop, even slightly, everything begins to shift. And here's the best part: just like bad habits can trap you, good habits follow the exact same loop. Create strong cues, Build simple routines, and make the reward satisfying, and your new habit becomes automatic. You're not fighting your brain. You're reprogramming it. Most people spend their entire lives chasing goals, but the people who actually achieve them? They focus on systems, not motivation, not willpower, and not the finish line. A goal is the result you want. A system is the process that gets you there, the routine you follow, the habits you build, and the environment you shape around you. For example, your goal might be to get fit, but your system is the simple habit of showing up, moving your body for 20 minutes, drinking water, and eating with intention. Your goal might be to save money, but your system is how you budget, how you track your spending, and the rules you create for your financial decisions. Your goal might be to grow your career, but your system is learning consistently, taking on new challenges, and surrounding yourself with people who stretch you. Here's the part most people don't realize. Goals create pressure, but systems create progress. Goals are in the future. They are external. They rely on the moment you reach something. But systems? They are internal. They are daily. They're built into your identity. If you follow the right system long enough, the goal becomes inevitable. It becomes a natural outcome of who you are becoming. That's why the most successful people in the world don't obsess over the finish line. They obsess over the process. They fall in love with the daily actions. They focus on what they can control today. Because if your systems are broken, your goals will stay out of reach. But if your systems are strong, you won't just reach your goals, you'll surpass them. So instead of asking, "What do I want to achieve?" ask, "What system can I build that makes success automatic?" Build the system. Show up for it daily. Let the results take care of themselves. One of the biggest reasons people fail to stick to their habits is because they approach change from the outside in. They focus on the outcome, not the identity behind the outcome. But the truth is this: real transformation happens when you change who you believe you are. Most people say things like, "I want to be healthy. I want to be more disciplined. I want to be successful." But wanting is not enough, because wanting doesn't change your identity. Imagine instead saying, "I am someone who takes care of my body. I am someone who honors my commitments. I am someone who shows up every day." That's identity-based change. It shifts your entire perspective. Because once you believe something about yourself, your daily behavior starts aligning with that belief. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. One workout is a vote. One healthy meal is a vote. Reading for 10 minutes is a vote. Saving a small amount of money is a vote. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to cast more votes for your future self than your old habits cast against you. And here's the beautiful part. Once your identity shifts, habits become effortless. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth, because you believe you're someone who takes care of yourself. The same applies to success, discipline, health, and growth. When your identity supports the habit supports your identity. So ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? Not what goal do I want to achieve, but who is the version of me that naturally achieves it? Start showing up as that person today. Start casting small votes every single day. Your identity will catch up, and your life will follow. Every day, you're making a choice to move 1% forward or 1% backward. And here's the truth most people ignore. You don't need massive breakthroughs. You just need tiny improvements, repeated consistently. If you get 1% better every day for a year, you don't end up slightly better. You end up 37 times better. That's the power of compounding. Small habits seem invisible at first. Reading one page doesn't change your life. Doing 10 push-ups doesn't transform your body. Saving a few rupees doesn't make you rich. But over time, those tiny choices become powerful outcomes. Because the results of good habits compound, just like the consequences of bad habits. So don't underestimate the small things you do daily. Your future self will look back and thank you for every quiet, consistent step you take today. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to keep showing up. Small habits. Small wins. Small steps forward. That's how real success is built. Your future is not shaped by one big moment, but by the hundreds of tiny decisions you make every day. Stay consistent. Stay disciplined. And remember, the life you want is built quietly, long before the world notices. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe our channel.